Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Rose Gowen with another edition of Brownsville in Motion, and I'm going to call it a special edition because I've known this gentleman since I was 13, 12, 13,
Yes.
something like that. We're good friends and a very special and gifted person, Joey Lopez. Welcome, Joey.
Rose, thank you for the invitation. And again, our relationship and our friendship has gone back way, way, way back. So I'm again very grateful for the invitation and really looking forward to sharing a little bit about what I've been doing and things like that here in the community for these past few years.
Perfect, perfect. So, what do you want people to know about Joey Lopez? They may know a little bit, they may not know you at all. If
Mm.
that's the case, what do you want people to know?
Well, people should know. Yeah, I mean, I'm part of the Lopez family from the supermarket. Great grandpa started it in 1930s, and it's been I've been out visiting adult daycares, and people remember the fresh chicken at Lopez and the meat markets and stuff like that. And growing up, I mean, when I was 10 years old, my mom's mom, my grandmother, made me a little meat coat. And I was when we were on Central, I was standing on top of a milk carton cleaning steaks.
Oh, my.
So yeah, so my first love and that I was taught was to be a butcher. So by the age of 14, 15, I was a full-fledged butcher at that time. And
Interesting.
yeah, which is great because it makes fantastic when I invite people over to come over and have a steak at the house, they're all ready to come.
Of course. That's it. I'm going to keep that in my hat.
So, been doing that, was there with the family, supported the family for many, many years. When my aunt Tomasita passed away and the 10 kids were all there, they needed somebody independent on because I was doing all the accounting and work for all the stores, all the
Mhm.
grocery stores. And so I decided I went into private practice and did accounting since 1981. So I've been doing taxes since 81. And then I got my securities license in '02. Did very well with that. And then about 4 years later, opened up a property and casualty insurance, mostly commercial. 90% of my business is all commercial. And thank God he's been watching over me, and my businesses have been very successful.
That's
So,
terrific. And you have
mm,
three beautiful daughters.
thank you.
How many
Yes,
grandkids do you have
I
now?
got two grandkids. I have Luca, who's going to be 5 in June, and Amai, who just turned 3. And
Perfect.
yeah, they're awesome kids, and just really happy. My youngest, she's an attorney. She's in her 4th year practicing in Dallas, and my middle daughter, Denisa, she's a doctor of physical therapy. Her and her husband are both therapists, and today they're opening up their own shop over off on Los Ebanos Boulevard.
Terrific. What's it going to be called?
It's called Lone Star Sports.
Okay.
Yeah, and so yeah, so really proud of them, and they're really looking forward to it. So we'll do whatever we can to help and support them.
Terrific, terrific. And so you have such a rich background and for many, many years very historic. Why public office? Why you've had a public presence now for quite a while, but why? You could have done what you've already described, but what
Hmm.
made you take that leap?
The community here has always supported us, the family, and I always had a love for it. When my girls were growing up and stuff, I got involved coaching them in basketball and in soccer and golf and the whole bit, and so giving back to the community was really a sense of what I wanted to do. And I've made a lot of friends, I've been able to help a lot of people,
Hmm.
and I think that's real important. I started off in education in 1990 when I first got elected to the Brownsville Independent School District and was there till 2000. I did 3 terms there and then decided to take a break because the girls were so active with all their sports.
Sure.
And now having 3 kids, I remember one Saturday, Sylvia and I were saying, well, how we're going to do this because Daniela was running in cross country and Donna. Denise had a basketball tournament at Lopez, and the baby was going to have a soccer game at Olmito Park. So I said, look, go to the basketball tournament. I'll rush over, pick up Daniela over after cross country, and then I'll rush myself over to the soccer game. But it was I've always felt real good about doing all that. I was involved with the boosters over at St. Joseph Academy for many years. I've been involved with St. Mary's Church. I was men's club there for 6 years. And so I believe in giving back to the community, and to my church and to the people that live here. It's if you have the time and you have the desire, I think anybody should go out there and give back to the community.
I couldn't agree more. I think it's almost a natural extension of the service that you provided in all of what you've already described. So the county commission, when did you first become elected to the county?
In 2019,
Okay, and how has that gone?
it's gone really, really well. You know, a little bit more different than because I did 25 years as a school board trustee, so 9 in Brownsville and 16 at South Texas ISD. Over there, more policy making, more driven to seeing what the superintendent, see what test scores are coming out. Over here, it's a more hands-on. I have precinct 2, which I can actually go out there, look to see what needs are, what drainage ditches are not clean. Real important to me when we're coming up on hurricane season, and my crew, we start in the last week of April and all the way through the end of May. We make sure that all our ditches are cleaned and properly so that nobody has any flooding. And I really take that to heart because the last thing anybody wants is to see a couple of inches of
No.
water inside your home. And then roads, one of the roads that I really, was real happy about, I was able to get done was Old Port Isabel Road. A lot of times when we go down that road, it's a very somber ride because we're going to lay somebody to rest at Roselawn
Right.
Cemetery. And before that road was made out of cement. So it was a little dun 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 and a
Yes.
little jump all the way over there. And it just, so we were able to widen it on each side and we overlaid it, and it's such a smooth road now and just really, really nice. Um, During that period of time too, a little bit before that, a big truck took out the bridge at the north side of Old Port Isabel Road where the
Oh,
Resaca goes,
okay.
and it was sort of crazy because when we started looking at it, it was still made out of wood. It wasn't made out of cement.
Really?
Yeah. So when we looked at it, I said, "Wow, this bridge has been here a long, long time." So we were lucky that, looked at inventory that we had in the county, and we had 2 huge box culverts that were on the inventory and hadn't been used. So we were able to bring those over and put those underneath the road, and now, which is great, anybody that has a little boat on that Resaca
Can
can
go
actually
under.
go
Oh,
underneath
very
and
cool.
continue the
Yes.
road on the way. So it's been awesome, Old Port Isabel Road, but there's just so many roads that we've taken advantage of and helped out. And the next big project is Dana. Dana, we have 3 schools on Dana Road, and very instrumental because we had at the beginning when Dana ends over at Hugh Emerson, we had a lot of accidents. So we got a signal light put out there, a flashing light. But this past year we had 17 accidents out there.
And I think
And
that's a project with the city, isn't it? Dana Road
no,
Park.
that's all
It's total
state.
county and
That's all.
state.
That's all state.
Okay.
And so the state light out there, I put in October
Hmm.
for a permanent, green, red, yellow light, and they got approved. So hopefully this summer they'll have a new light out there that's going to actually save some lives because we'd had 18 accidents within one
Yes.
year,
I
and
know. I
that's too
know.
much. So they put it on the fast track for that. But yeah, Dana Road, part of the project on the road itself is with the city.
Hmm.
So the drainage ditch that's also on the south end of Dana is going to get widened and replaced, and we're going to have sidewalks on the road there so that when the kids have to walk, they're not
Yes.
walking in the mud
Oh, I
because right now
agree.
they're walking in the mud, and this project is going to be about $24 million
Yeah,
for
I
that
used to get a
expansion.
lot of calls about walking to school and why aren't there sidewalks? And so I'm really glad that that's coming to fruition.
Yes.
So when I earned my seat initially, I'd never been in the public eye, and I know there were things that surprised me that I wasn't like, oh, I didn't think about that. That's not necessarily true for you, but was there something about being a county commissioner that took you by surprise? Is there something that you weren't expecting about being a commissioner?
Well, you know what surprised the heck out of us? I mean, and I think all of us because it was COVID.
True.
I mean, the the trying to organize people and to get, you know, people vaccinated and help people, especially your elderly and the people who were diabetic, and those people that were more on the sensitive side was real important. And because I mean it was tearing up families. You had people who had COVID that were in the hospital, and you couldn't go in to see them,
And
and
maybe
they
they
were,
passed away
yeah,
while
and
you,
passed
yeah,
away there without
alone.
any family member
Yes.
close to them. I think, the judge and the county commissioners, we all put our best foot forward in getting as many people vaccinated as possible and early. And that was one thing that I really took me by surprise on, how much we can actually do. Esmer Guajardo, who's in charge of our health department, did an excellent
She
job,
did.
and I was out there in Los Fresnos with the fire department that volunteered. I mean, it was a great place for the vac. We did over 6,000 in one day out
Yes.
there, and and I was out there helping everybody. Right now, all the people in the health department recognize me as the guy that was always coming with the donuts at the beginning of the day, because it was important for me to be out there and show that we were all supportive and encourage them, because it was something that was going to help the community.
I agree. I took part in several of the vaccine fairs at Amigo Land
Hmm.
and gave shots, and it was very rewarding. And really, you're right. Take a step back. Who thinks that something like that's going to happen in this day and age?
Yeah.
You think about that years ago with yellow fever and stuff like that, but in today's world,
World.
I agree that that really took us by surprise. And we worked together well, the city, the county, the state, and I am also very proud of that initiative. So you've accomplished a lot, and there's not room in this show to tell all of the things that you've accomplished. So, what do you think the top three things that you want people to know that you've accomplished?
I think COVID was real important.
Okay.
Okay. Organizing and getting people to work and stand side by side. I think that was very important. The what our health department does, we have over 250 employees in the health department
Mm-hmm.
at the county level. Um, you know, because you get calls. Like I just got a call from a gentleman that his mom didn't have no financial part. She just got diagnosed with a severe illness. There's no help, no support. She didn't,
Mm-hmm.
and she's still not of Medicare age. So, you know, I was able to help, and she was able to fill out an application and so show how much money she was coming in, and we were able to help her at the county.
Great.
So there's little things like that if you just make a little bit of an extra effort to make it happen, all of a sudden you feel accomplished, and you feel like you're really helping the community, because it's not about a big project. Sometimes it's an individual,
True. True.
and so it's all about giving back on other larger projects. I mean, we've been pushing so hard. uh, when we brought the three counties together, we got Hidalgo, Willacy, and we formed the Rio Grande Valley MPO.
That's true.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
uh, what an accomplishment! I mean, we got all of that done, and from receiving 500 million in the three counties together, now we're receiving 3.6 billion dollars in infrastructure monies for the three counties. We have so many projects, coming our way, that we right now are taking advantage of the monies and really helping out, because the growth in Cameron County right now, especially with all the jobs of SpaceX and the LNGs and the people that are coming, our road infrastructure needs to be improved and
True.
stuff. So now the resources are there to get them done, and so we're moving at a fast pace, trying to get as much done. The new causeway, the environmental study will be done in September. And so funding's already ready. That's $1 billion just for that causeway. Okay. And the other thing that I think is very important, and not just for Cameron County, but for the whole valley, we have a road connector that's going to be from Edinburgh all the way to North Harlingen.
I heard
That's going
about
to
that.
run parallel with 83. I mean, if anybody has been here and we're on 83, I dread from Westlaco to McAllen. The
True.
traffic is just
Oh,
unbelievable.
gripping the handlebar.
Yes, you're
Yes.
holding on, and everybody's zooming by. And now with this other one, it's going to relieve a lot of that traffic overflow. And two, for the people from Edinburgh, it's going to save them a 20-minute drive, 20
Yeah.
minutes in driving to the island.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's
you know,
terrific.
those projects are real important. There's another connector that we're doing from 281 to the Highway 269, which is going to be almost running parallel to New Carmen Avenue. And that's to be able to get all the 18 wheelers off of like 1732 and
Hmm.
802 and Alton Glore and have them funneled that way to where you have them on highways and not in neighborhoods.
That's
We
great.
will bring more safety to every, just in those projects that are right now already on paper and committed funds within the next 2 years. We still need to be watching them and pushing them along. $1,313,000,000 worth in projects.
Wow. Wow. And
So
time
this,
frame to complete all in general? What do you think?
I would say, probably with the causeway, probably about 6 to 7 years.
So you mentioned the need to upgrade infrastructure, road infrastructure. Cannot agree more. But alongside that, it's the need to upgrade park infrastructure
Hmm.
because the people that come to work here and people that already
Quality
live
of life.
here don't want just
Yeah.
concrete. They want green space and trails and connectivity and such. And I know that you've just completed a gorgeous park in Olmito. Tell us
Yeah.
about that park.
Well, I mean, our relationship goes a lot further back than that with the West Rail, and we'll start with the West
Okay,
Rail
good point.
because, I got on the commission and we had talked about it, and the county didn't want to move forward on
That's
doing
right.
an agreement with the city, and I had to roll up my sleeves and get a little upset at times with the court and saying, I needed help on maintaining that, and so they finally saw my way, and we were able to do something with the city,
And it's
which
beautiful.
and we didn't have anything on the west side. I live on the west side,
That's right.
so it was real important to have something on the west side, and 7.4 miles of trail. It's fantastic, and hopefully now from there we'll be able to connect to Olmito Park.
I'd love that. I mean,
Okay.
the whole thing about trails is connectivity
Yes.
to have a destination.
Amen.
And I remember a very wonderful man, Gil Penalusa, who lectures all over the world about building cities for 8 to 80, meaning 8 years old to 80 years old. And he would say, Rose, if you don't build the network, it's like building a soccer field with only building one goal. And you say, okay, we'll do the rest next year. But who's going to play soccer that year on one goal? You
Yeah.
have to build the whole thing to get people to really realize the usefulness. And the West Rail is a huge piece of that interconnectivity,
Yes.
connecting now to Olmito, to the Texas State Park that is there, to the sports park. That is, I hope, my goal to keep pushing on as well.
Well, I think it's real important, the relationship between the city and the county.
Yes.
A lot of my precinct is part of Brownsville, and I want to see that. And each year that we've been pushing, the relationship is getting stronger and more involved. And I
True.
think that's
True.
very, very important. Having partnerships like that can really make things happen, and
Yes.
it's real, real important. Olmito Park, we went to Olmito Park. That was a godsend. When I got on 2019, uh, I was going through what we had for Precinct 2, and there was a bond issue that had happened about 6 years before I got there, and they had allocated $500,000 for a park in Olmito.
Okay.
And so I decided, okay, the county didn't own any property in Olmito, so I started visiting with three different families, the Wentz, the McKinneys, and Garcias, and met with them. And God behold, when I was talking to the McKinneys, saw my plan, and they said, yeah, Joey, we'd love to be part of it. Let us donate you 6 acres.
Okay.
And I was ecstatic. 6 acres was going to be fantastic for me. 2 weeks later, Mr. McKinney calls me back and said, Joey, we really like your project. We want to give you all 40 acres.
Awesome.
It was unbelievable. You got 3,200 linear feet of Resaca.
That's unheard
Unbelievable.
of.
Yes.
Unheard of for the
Unheard
city.
of. For that kind of property, just unbelievable. So, started making drives to Texas Parks and Wildlife. We had ARPA funds coming available.
Hmm.
So we pushed on every grant and everything that we could to get the seed money to do this park. And as of right now, as of today, we have 3 fishing piers
Okay.
out there. We have 2 bird watching areas over the water. Okay, we have a park for kids. We have a real nice overhang roof for functions. We have 2.2 miles of trail. So we have 2.2 miles of trail. Uh, just really nice. We had a soft opening about a month ago,
Okay.
and the park has been full every evening from people walking out there. We have actual picnic areas within the park, about 10 to 12 picnic areas where you can come. There's not going to be any open fires because of how much woods and everything's
Sure.
there. So we want to make sure we don't burn it to the ground. And so, but you can bring out sandwiches and do picnic with your family. The areas are real nice. And then the other thing, we're going to take full advantage of the Resaca. We have a kayak launching area. And when I saw it the first time, I said, man, I can't believe this. It's a floating dock,
Ooh.
and it has two kayak areas on each side. There's railings. So you lie your kayak inside that railing, and
Okay.
then you walk in without even stepping into water.
Okay.
And then it has two rails where
To
you
hold
just
on
roll
to.
yourself in because it's on rollers.
Oh,
So
okay.
you roll yourself into the Resaca without getting wet.
Wow. I have to
Yeah.
try that.
Yes. So it's really, really awesome. We're going to have 30 RV slots
Okay.
that we're going to be leasing out. We're going to do short term, only 30 days at a time, only so that everybody can get a chance to enjoy the park. But those revenues, and we're going to do a concession over by the kayak launching area that we're hoping we'll get a concessionaire that will be leasing kayaks and leasing maybe paddle boats and things that they can enjoy on the Resaca, and so that that revenue to hope to maintain the park.
That's terrific.
Okay.
And
Yes.
so is the park you said that you need to do the concession and all the things you just said. Time frame? What do you think? Another year?
I think we're going to be ready by December.
Okay.
Okay, because
Okay.
everything's moving along really nice and fast. I am a little bit short on the community center or the nature center that's going to go on there. I'm about $1.2 million short, but I have already have several people that have come up front. SpaceX is looking at it, and the LNG are going to be looking at it. And then Mr. McKinney also said, Joey, if there's a void that I can help fill, he's also willing. So we're in the process right now in trying to make sure that we can get that community center going. We're looking at Big Heroes has offered to come in and help and do support stuff there. So, and we built a constable station, a little small substation for them there. Like that, we can also watch over the park and make sure that it's being well taken care of.
Great. So, and then you mentioned the new causeway.
Yes.
And so the plug or push I would say on that is we have to have a pedestrian bicycle lane over the Laguna Madre,
Yes.
whether it's on the old causeway or the new causeway. But we need to do that, and we've worked very hard to try and push for that. And we did get award. The city was awarded some funds back in the day when the Tiger Grant existed,
Okay.
but we had to give it back to the government
Yes.
because we didn't have the momentum to the government momentum. We had the people momentum, but not the government momentum.
Yeah.
So I put that thought in your hat as you're looking at
Well,
those
you better keep
plans.
on talking to me. No, but we've talked about it, and I think it's something that needs to be there. It's a 7 mile bridge. So I mean,
Maybe
you
on the
you
old
might want to
bridge.
take your bike to one end and then drive it across.
Well, the old
But
bridge is not that long.
mhm,
So
yeah.
I back in those days, Pete, what was his name? The director of the MPO at that time,
Hmm.
said that once we got the new bridge, that they could do that on the old bridge, which is shorter.
Hmm.
But that's a destination, right?
Yes.
Park in Port Isabel, right
No,
across,
it'd
have
be
lunch, come back.
yeah, that would be awesome.
And
And
evacuation when there's an
hmm
emergency, you can evacuate on foot as in addition to by
to
car. But anyway,
yeah.
that's my personal plug. So of all the projects that you've looked at and worked at, what were the ones that got away? Were there any that you really think, man, I really wished I could do that, but I'm going to try for it in this next term?
Well, I think we've had trying to work on the development along the river
Hmm.
between the B&M Bridge and Gateway. I think that would be something that would really enhance and bring more traffic to all of downtown. And we're here. It's not even a mile from here to
True.
where we're talking about, and it's. I think you know something like that would definitely bring the atmosphere of, oh, while you're sitting at an open restaurant and you're looking across to Matamoros in Mexico and the river. And I think it could develop scenically, and then with the commerce and that, I think could really do a lot. working with traffic, the in and the out is going to be important. But also now, right now, with the development and the remodeling of Gateway, that's
Yeah.
$264 million that they're putting in there, and that's going to sort of be, you know, move the traffic over a little bit differently than where it's at right now. All of that's really going to be real important, I think, to help all of downtown and also the area, the rail, the yard,
Switchyard.
the yes, and trying making sure we can connect that international bike trail.
Yeah, that'd
That
be
that'd
very
be awesome.
unique.
And now that we're only maybe a couple of weeks away from signing off on the B&M Bridge, so the county will be county property, and that's something that we can work on hand in
We
hand
need
to
to.
try to
Yeah.
get that done, and then have an international bike trail
One in probably the only one in the United
in the
States.
United
Definitely
States.
on the southern side
Yeah,
of the
so
United States.
we need to get to be the first ones.
I agree. I agree. Excellence. That's what we strive for.
Yes,
So 4 more years. Your terms are 4 years. I
yes,
guess we should
correct.
say that.
Hmm.
And so next 4 years, are you going to approach things any differently? Certainly, the world has changed.
Hmm.
Challenges come and go, burdens and things that are unexpected, and all of that.
Yeah.
How will you approach the next 4 terms differently? 4 years differently?
You know what? I think the future, none of us have a crystal ball to see where
True.
we're going. The thing is to be always alert and always ready to take head on the problems that might be coming, and then they don't have to all just need to be problems. They can also be good things. Is to embrace them and to help them along. Uh, uh, you know, being a public servant and wearing a title is not just about wearing the title. It's about making the effort and putting in the time. If you put in the time, things happen. It's just all these projects that we have is because we've already got a little trail all the way to Austin, and we've been knocking on every door and every door. What's helped me a lot is that when I was on the board for South Texas ISD,
Hmm.
I encompass three counties, so I know representatives for three
From three counties,
counties,
yes.
and I know two state senators, and so when I go up now, I don't need to just knock on the doors for Cameron County representatives. I can knock on the doors for a lot more representatives that will actually help me during when I was on South Texas ISD board. Uh, so I think in anybody's service or anybody's term, we all need to make that extra effort. Like my other initiative that I have right now is maintaining and helping out our resacas. Our resacas
Hmm.
is a beautiful thing for
Oh
here, and we
gosh.
still have resacas here that are dry.
Hmm.
And so, wanting to set up a foundation, we're already looking at monies to available. I'd like to at least $1 million seed money for that, and then have them have do a fundraiser annually to help maintain the water levels in our resacas. First, they help tax values on property. They help for drainage when we have
Right.
hurricanes, and so the aesthetic of it of being I live on a resaca and I enjoy it 100%. I mean, when I'm stressed out from doing all my stuff, I'd love to sit on my porch and just have a glass of wine and enjoy my backyard. But I want to set up that foundation to where we can set up a board or a
Hmm.
commission, and that commission you'd have to live on a resaca to be part of that board. Okay, and so after that, because who knows, the next commissioner that follows me might not really be
Right.
excited about water and the resaca. So I want to turn it over to the community to where it's going to be something that's going to outlive all of us
To
to
live.
be able
Right.
to fund it and make sure that we do keep our the resaca levels and that they're maintained properly to where they serve as drainage and they serve as uh, aesthetically awesome places for us to live on.
I didn't grow up on a resaca. And my parents didn't want to live on a resaca because there were too many bugs and there was snakes and whatever. But then when I grew up and came home, we lived on a resaca, but it was far away from the house. So you saw it over there once in a while. That was it. But now we live as we've downsized. We live in a smaller, much smaller home on a resaca, and it's from here to there. And my husband put up a bird feeder, And all of a sudden, there was this world outside that, every morning when we wake up, we have a relationship with the Resaca, and the sun's coming up and the birds are flying in, and oh, get up, you have to feed the ducks, and so on and so forth. And so I'll be on your team on that
Thank
one,
you.
because I really think that relationship with the water
Hmm.
is something that's rich
Yeah.
and very unique for our area. Nobody else can say that they have that.
No, and water is a big issue, and it's something that we've already started to plan at the county because we don't want to end up like right now the problems that Corpus is having,
No, no, no,
and
no.
so you know there is a lot of water underground, but I think we really need to tap the biggest pond that we have is the Gulf of Mexico,
Of
and we
course,
need to
without a
take
doubt.
bite the bullet and push it hard. Maybe if we have to go out for a bond issue or something, but I think the county. Uh, Getting the lead, tying in PUB, getting other resources and saying, "Hey guys, let's pull it all together and let's do it." Because everybody gets scared about the big ticket item, but I mean,
You have to think long term.
we have to think
Yes.
long term, and I think it's something that will help
Generations to
all
come.
the valley,
Yes.
and
Yes.
so I think it's time, and I'm going to be advocating for that in these next few years,
Okay.
and because we do need to bite that bullet and really get it going.
Terrific. Terrific. And now you mentioned as you walked in about the projects that are coming, that are in the pipeline, and a price tag to all of that. What do you want the people to know about that?
Well, I brought cheat notes because there's
Good.
too many,
Good.
and so um, as we go through them, uh, the Dana Road expansion, which we
Yes.
talked about, that's 25 million. Oh, we haven't mentioned the new bridge, Flor de Mayo Bridge.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, that bridge is going to be a pedestrian, not a commercial bridge, and it's going to be a very important bridge because we have a lot of people that live here in Brownsville that work in the maquiladoras in Matamoros.
Uh-huh.
This bridge is going to be straight right almost to the maquiladoras.
Terrific. And
So,
mhm.
and it's great. We have the presidential permits on both sides. So that one's going to be 45 million. Okay. Uh, the highway connector that we talked about, New
Yes.
Carmen, and that highway from 281 to I-69, that's going to be $130 million. Uh, Morrison Road. Morrison Road ends right now in Paredes, but if you look at our city maps and on the county, it should connect all the way to
Right.
511.
Right.
And so we're going to get that done, and that money's already also allocated 45 million. Old Alice. I mean, just the
I
name.
live by that.
Yeah,
I
it's
want
Old
that.
Alice, and it needs to be redone.
Very
It
much
really
so.
big. So that's 35 million. The B&M bridge that we talked earlier, that cost is going to be 33 million. That came out in the news not too long ago, and then we're helping out the Port of Brownsville, also trying to expand the connector for all the 18 wheelers are going in through there, and sort of expanding on 550. Okay, and trying to get them to get that done. So all of those are projects that are already on paper, already plans and everything. Those are done. In the works right now, we're just talking about, we haven't put a lot of stuff on paper, is we're engaging with Pablo Quisal. You know how the traffic gets over on Pablo Quisal so we're doing a traffic and maybe a traffic improvement to help out with
Study.
the city on that.
Hmm.
Okay. Uh, this is going to be awesome for me and for all of us because to relocate the Olmito rail line.
Oh, that would be nice.
So looking at trying to relocate that even past Rancho Viejo to where we get it further west
Hmm.
and then further west. So also because we have the bridge, the rail bridge that goes into Mexico over by
Hmm.
Riverbend,
Right. Right.
hoping to hook that up and have so that railway can move further west. That we're working on that too, and then UTRGV also came out with a new campus on the north side of town.
I heard that. That is
Yes,
very exciting. Very much
very
so.
very exciting, and the county will be in charge of all the infrastructure.
True. So I think you have nothing to do in the next 4 years.
Well, it's there's a lot of things that are happening, and it takes effort and want to go ahead and make the connection because we do have to go to Austin. We have to talk to people, and we text out with all the agencies that are involved in trying to get things done, and even so, like right now putting your best foot forward. With my expertise in accounting and my expertise in the insurance, I'm really, really involved with the budget at the county.
Hmm.
Uh, the last 3 years we've decreased county taxes in the last 3 years. With my insurance experience, we were able to move around some of our insurances because we had our windstorm and hurricane insurance that would renew in July,
Hmm.
and so we've moved it to May, the 1st of May, and we were able to save $200,000 just on that move. Now
Wow.
I'm moving it to March. I'm hoping we're going to get a little more relief. But things like that I've done with even administration and saying, let's try this, let's move this, let's get this done. And administratively, I think within, little things that I've done, we've saving about $320 to $360,000 per year in cost. So it's always about making a little extra effort and giving of your expertise and your time
And
to make
timing,
things better.
I think one of the things I learned is that things take time, and timing is so important.
So
The right
important.
people there in those spots at the right time, and then the right people to continue the momentum of good things.
Hmm.
After, because we can't be there forever,
No.
but continue that. So I think that um, people will see that, should see that, hopefully hear it today, and get involved and go vote. Early voting starts
Yeah,
today,
early
correct?
voting started today. We have 5 days from the 18th to the 22nd.
Okay. And early voting's so easy,
S-
guys. I
Yeah,
mean, it's super fast.
yeah, and there's the courthouse, there's a library, there's the park at Esperanza,
Hmm.
there's Rancho Viejo, so it's real easy, it's accessible, and even so now, Rose, we've made it really nice for the day of the election. On the day of the election, you're supposed to vote at Stell or whatever, but you work in Harlingen,
Okay.
you can stop at any polling place in Harlingen, present your ID, and you'll get your ballot
Oh,
for
that's
the other.
nice.
So
That's new.
you,
Isn't that new?
yes, that
Okay.
is brand new this past year. So now you don't have to be rushing to get to your precinct. You can actually stop at any polling place, and they can print out your ballot for your area.
That's very nice. I've always I used to feel before I earned my seat that national elections or state elections were the most important.
Hmm.
And I would say, okay, I'm busy. I'm not going to go vote for that county or that city or whatever. But I learned very quickly that it's actually almost reverse. I think you would agree that, yes, of course, you should vote nationally and state. I don't mean to say that. But who you elect locally is who governs the funds that come to you, to the city, to the county. And you want good people there that have expertise, that are willing to work with others, and that have a vision that is not self-serving,
Yes,
but is for the people.
for the
And I,
people.
I think I think you would agree with that.
Yeah, the efforts that, because even so, when I was on the school district and the trustees, we would go up to Austin and to fight for funding for public education, and they didn't want to see administration. They wanted to see
Yeah.
elected trustees going out there and presenting the issues, and it's been real. One of the things that I like to about the efforts when I was school board trustee is at one given time, Mercedes School District in Region 1 was going bankrupt because they didn't have enough local tax effort to actually just, repair roofs and maintain their buildings. And at that given time in the early 90s, how many portables? Every school had portables because
Hmm.
there wasn't enough money for brick and mortar. And so we got together, all the elected trustees across Region 1, and then we formed a smaller group of 15 of us with 3 financial advisors, the financial advisor or CFO from Mercedes, the one from Sheridan, and one from Brownsville. We created a plan and showed how many portables were on every campus within the region and how that the tax effort was not able to go ahead
Hmm.
and take. So we went to Austin, and lo and behold, we pounded the streets there, and I was able to get to talk to Arn Brewster, who was the chairman of the finance committee for
Hmm.
Victoria. In that given time, when I talked to him, and we were just talked for about 30 minutes, and he looked at me, Mr. Lopez, he says, "Do you have this on paper?" And I said, "Yes, sir. I have an inch and a quarter inch document that can show all of it." He says, "Well, can you all present to my staff in the morning?" and we went to the staff, presented it, and that's how the whole state, not just Region 1, the whole state of Texas got facility allotments monies and helped us remove all our portables here in Brownsville.
Vision, effort,
And then being at the right
and
place at the right
expertise.
time.
You're absolutely right. And the right person that was in charge of that committee and so
Yes.
forth.
So
So at the end of the day, Joey, what do you want people to remember? If they could only remember one thing about you, what do you think you would want that to be?
I would say probably my open door policy.
Okay.
You know, I answer my phone all the time. It's real important to be accessible. Uh, it can be a little problem from maybe somebody not picking up their trash in their alley to, a humongous, problem. It, it's being accessible, and then you can't solve all the problems, but if you at least try and point people in the right direction, it makes a world of difference.
I think people appreciate that. I would add listening, right? That if you're accessible, then you're listening, and a lot of people just want to be heard.
Yeah.
And understand that when you listen, you're a good person, and they want you to be making decisions for them.
Yeah.
So very, very true. Anything you'd like to say in closing?
Keep your eyes open. There's a lot of good new things coming to Cameron County as a whole. Uh, we're here to help and support. I'm always, ready to listen to good ideas and for people to please stay involved. Stay involved with your community. Take advantage of our trails. Take advantage of, especially, with the diabetes and stuff that it's here in the valley. People need to get healthy and, get out there and do a little bit of exercise and enjoy what we've been able to put out there for them. Stay involved, go out and vote, be aware of your community, and don't be afraid to donate and give time. The more people that are out there donating and giving time, the easier it is for everybody, and you become more aware of all the things that are happening in Cameron County.
Agree. Well, thank you so much for coming on this show today. And if people want to follow you outside of this podcast, your Facebook page?
Yeah, I have a Facebook page for my county commissioners.
Okay.
We've been posting quite a few things on things we've done and things that are coming up. I stay pretty active with my page, and especially when we have bad weather or storms.
Okay.
I'll wake up in the middle of the night if I have a lot of rain coming down. I'll go drive my precinct, making sure that everything is flowing properly. And I usually will do a video when I'm out there and making people aware of what's going on. But we're here to serve and here to try to be accessible and do the best for our community.
Okay, and stakes at your house after the election.
Yes, correct.
Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us for this very special edition. Don't forget, early voting starts today, and Election Day is the 26th. Stay tuned for wonderful projects coming out of the county with city involvement as well, and have a great day.